So I decide I'm gonna tell you about this incident I had as a black father, and it kind of gave form to why I wanted to talk about this stuff in my podcast and now on my live stream. So when my son was about, I think he had to be kindergarten. Um, he was in the after school program, and so and I had to have my kids picked up by 6 at the time. It was kind of winter season; the sun was going down, so it was dark by 6 o'clock. Go to pick up my son from the after school program. Now I'm gonna preface this by saying um, before, about a week before we had parent teacher conferences, and I attended parent teacher conferences. I think either I was by myself or it was me and my wife, but I attended parent teacher conference, and so I met all my kids' teachers. This is very important. This point is very important. I met all my kids' teachers. Pick my kids up from the after school program. My son is in the process of a meltdown. Now he's kindergarten. He's throwing a little temper tantrum. What happened was he couldn't calm himself down enough to say it, but what happened was after hindsight being 2020, um, he had this little lollipop that he had won for doing something good, and it got knocked out of his hand, and he dropped it on his way out of the door, and they were closing up, so he couldn't go back in and get it, and so he's melting down about this lollipop, right? So I'm getting the kids in the car, and this boy is just crying and yelling and falling out and doing things that 4 and 5 year olds do when they're upset. And so I'm sitting there putting the seatbelt on him. He's kicking and stuff. He's doing everything to not have the seatbelt on because he's trying to run back up to the door because he thinks that he can get back in and get this lollipop that he had dropped. All of this is I'm finding out after the fact. So anyway, I'm dealing with this screaming child. So as I'm dealing with this kid in my car having a complete and utter conniption fit about this lollipop, and then my daughter's cranking up because she's getting upset because the noise is starting to get great on her, and so now I'm about to have two screaming kids. My son's kindergarten teacher comes out and I'm like, oh well, maybe she can help me de-escalate this situation. She walks up to me. Now I literally had just met this woman a couple days ago. Like it had not been that long. She walks up to me and looks at me and looks at my son. And so, oh my gosh, what's happening? And I kind of explained, trying to calm him down, and so we could close the door and start driving home because he's kind of just flailing about. This woman looks at me, looks me in the face, looks at him, looks at me, and says, "Oh, so do we need to call the police?" Why? For what reason? Why would we need to call the police about a 5-year-old having a temper tantrum?